Hello, welcome everyone to today's training. My name is Bethany and I am from OneSource Technology. We are an IT services company based out of Wichita, Kansas, and my role here at OneSource is a client services representative. Today's webinar is all about cybersecurity. So for the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to walk everyone through the various types of cyber attacks that can be encountered, how you can stay safe, and how OneSource can help you as an IT services partner. And before we get started, for a little bit of background, I just want to say quickly that OneSource offers both managed services and IT support for Wichita and the surrounding areas. So you can get all of the IT services you need at an affordable, flat monthly rate, as well as quick and reliable on-site or remote support for any questions or concerns that may arise. And I will go over some more of our services at the end as I wrap up. So kicking things off here today, let's talk about cyber attacks. There are going to be four types that I'm going to go over today, and they are phishing, email scams, malicious websites, and ransomware. So let's start with phishing. And what is phishing? Phishing is an attempt to obtain sensitive information such as passwords by posing as a trustworthy entity. Usually this happens via email, and then the information gathered is used to send spam, compromise other accounts, and steal information. Here are a few examples of how phishing works. As you can see here, there are several factors that help you easily spot a phishing email should it come across your desk, so to speak. The first is genericism. In the case of this email, there is a generic greeting all, a generic email address linked to a generic human resources, and then the email is simply signed human resources. You should know the company you work for. Your human resources representative or department will usually use their name in company communications, so that should be a red flag right off the bat. Furthermore, on the generic nature of this email, if you are unsure, even in the face of what I just described, you need to make sure that the company details are correct, while also looking out to make sure the message is written with standard verbiage for your organization. The second factor to watch out for is urgency. Phishing is all about trying to get you to do something and to do it with urgency. Click this, do this, send this, give this, and the list goes. And building off of that, there will usually be fraudulent links involved with a phishing scam. Here is a perfect example of the urgency angle. I need you to process a wire transfer for me today, sent from my iPhone, but with no name. Also notice the generic greeting and the capitalization and punctuation errors. If the message didn't tip you off right away, those should definitely make you aware that this is not real. This also applies to social media. I don't know about you, but I don't tend to get too many emails from Instagram. And if Instagram sends you an email with a code and a link, chances are that is going to be fraudulent. And again, notice the punctuation error before please sign in. So next up is email scams. Now, a lot of what I just described for phishing happens through email. And email scams are typically coupled with phishing to make it look like it is coming from a higher up in your organization. Usually email scams are designed to get money from you or something of value and are often designed to induce panic or a sense of urgency. Now here you are seeing many of the same indicators from the first phishing example, namely the fake email address. Notice here that there is a cdc-gov.org when most people know that the CDC website is simply cdc.gov. There is also a generic greeting and a generic sign-off, urgency at the end of the message, and poor grammar. But what is most important to note here is the link. As you can see, the link here does actually say cdc.gov. So a harmless way to determine whether this is fraudulent without compromising yourself is to simply hover your cursor over the link to preview the URL. Beware of links that direct you to a login page. So this brings me to a quick list of 7 ways you can better your email hygiene, so to speak. And doing all of these things before potentially opening a suspicious email or following its instructions can save you from a world of damage. These are all points I have touched on, but here they are in one place. Number 1, watch for overly generic content and greetings. I've said this a few times already, but it is so important. Cyber criminals tend to deal in large batch emails that are impersonal. So that is why you will see greetings like the ones I have already touched on and ones like Dear Valued Customer. Number 2, examine the entire from email address. It's important to make the distinction that while the first part of the email address may be legitimate, the last part may be off by just a few characters to throw you off, similar to the CDC example that I used previously. Number 3, look for urgency or demanding actions. Again, these range from click here to we're coming after you. Do not fall for these. Number 4, carefully check all links. Again, as with the CDC example, you don't have to click every link in every email you open. By running your cursor over the link and examining the URL, you can see that if it does not match where the email implies you should be going, mark it as spam. Number 5, notice misspellings, incorrect grammar, and odd phrasing. This is typically done to bypass spam filters, but should be a clean giveaway that this is an attempted scam. Check for secure websites. Number 6, any website that begins with HTTPS is going to be secure, and as such, this one can be particularly tricky as the CDC example did, in fact, have a HTTPS at the beginning. But in that case, you would want to rely more on hovering your cursor over the link. Finally, number 7, don't click on attachments right away. Again, just hover that cursor over any links before you click them to make sure they are legitimate. Again, these are so simple and take so little time, but can make all the difference. Banking and finance are the biggest sources of email scams. People trying to gouge you for money by impersonating your financial institutions. So this could be someone claiming to be the IRS, your bank, or just an online retailer like Amazon where you have your payment information stored. If you get a message saying your account is on hold, try using that payment method elsewhere first before clicking this link and following its instructions, potentially compromising your financial information. So let's move over to malicious websites. These are going to be listed in Google search results and may actually look like legitimate websites. This type of cyber attack can also affect legitimate websites that serve malicious ads or that have been hacked. Again, online banking is a prime target for these types of malicious web-based cyber attacks through lookalike websites. Tech support scams are another popular tactic for malicious website phishing attacks. With so much of our lives dependent on technology, getting a person to engage with a tech support entity has potential to be an easy proposition. However, the warning signs are all the same here. Generic information. See that a mysterious infection has somehow shut down your computer and they want you to call certified technicians. This feeds right into one of the other telltale signs that I discussed earlier, which is urgency. As you see here, the all caps writing, the call to action, strongly advise that you call this number, and the predatory language, your chat logs, your family photos, and webcam are compromised. Finally, let's talk about ransomware. As pointed out here, SEO Trojans are a prime tactic of ransomware, and that's when an attacker is able to get their poison web result into a prime search result position on Google or the other major search engines, giving themselves a false air of legitimacy and acting as catnip for potential victims. So what exactly is ransomware? Ransomware is a nasty malware that encrypts your files and all other files you have access to on the network. The only option to combat a ransomware attack is to restore from backups. Ransomware is a serious business and the most drastic and sinister of the different types of cyber attacks, often used by state actors or large criminal organizations. True to its name, it typically involves a ransom. Do not pay this ransom. Here is a typical example of a ransomware attack. As you can see, the message warns that your documents, photos, databases, and other important files have been encrypted with the strongest encryption and unique key for your computer specifically. And here's the ransom. You only have 96 hours to submit payment, complete with more threatening urgency. Do not try to get rid of the program yourself. Again, simply restore your files from a backup and do not pay this ransom. So let's say you didn't listen today and fell victim to a cyber attack. What exactly are the costs? Well, first off, you wouldn't be alone, as an average of 7 out of 10 small business employees report having their passwords stolen, appropriate given that 43% of data breaches affect small business. This is particularly damaging as the average cost of recovery from a data breach comes out to $36,000. But it goes so much further than that. As you can see from this chart, a single cyber loss incident can cost an organization with 1 to 49 employees $9,000, jump all the way up to $96,000 for an organization with 50 to 249 employees, a whopping $395,000 for organizations with 250 to 999 employees, and then $294,000 for 1,000 plus employee organizations. Not exactly chump change, and it does not have to be this way. So enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about how you can stay safe. First off, be suspicious. It's a wild world out there, and we all need to be on alert more than ever. So the first rule of thumb, never send money or pay for something without confirming by phone by calling a phone number you know is correct, not a number given to you in an email or a call that comes in to you. And most importantly, don't panic. In the right hands, any potential threats can easily be mitigated. Enter any web addresses directly into your web browser and log into pertinent websites that way. And last but not least, look for that poor grammar that I have spoken about several times today. Passwords are one of the easiest ways to be cyber attacked. For important services like your email and your network, never reuse passwords. To keep all your passwords together, use a password manager like LastPass. Utilizing a password manager will help keep together randomly generated passwords that are hard to remember, which are the most recommended passwords. Lastly, visit haveibeenpwned.com and check your personal and work email accounts, and if they are listed, change the passwords. This one should be evident. But for critical services like banking, make sure you are utilizing multi-factor authentication so that it is much harder for any malfeasance to take place. Install updates often. Closing your web browser several times a week will help you automatically receive updates, and if you are busy, put a reminder on your computer to have them install at the end of the day. Finally, the best way to stay safe is by constantly backing up your information. I touched on this with regards to ransomware attacks, and it is so critical. Follow the rule of 3. Have at least 3 copies of your data and store the copies on at least 2 different media types, keeping at least one of them off-site. Data on the server should be automatically backed up and a copy stored off-site, inaccessible from the network. Individual work and home computers can use programs like Carbonite or Backblaze, and Office 365 also has backup services available. Okay, so now I'd like to open it up to questions. Well, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. I hope it was informative. Again, I am from OneSource Technology in Wichita, Kansas, where we promote your business growth and success with a proactive approach to your information technology, keeping your IT running smoothly to eliminate frustration and keep your employees productive. We monitor your network and IT systems around the clock to immediately detect and resolve issues or malware infections, perform regular preventative maintenance, create catered strategic IT plans, meet with you regularly to discuss goals, and also plan ahead for important upgrades and necessary purchases, all while helping you stay within your designated budget. Contact us today at onesourcetechnology.com, email us at solutions@onesourcetechnology.com, or call us at 316-788-1372 for a complimentary consultation. Thank you very much.